In this sublesson, we're going to introduce the concept of visual interactions, and we're going to change and manipulate the interaction behavior between different visuals. So once again, we're going to get the desktop file open that supports this sublesson and wait for it to go ahead and open. Okay, so before we go ahead and talk about editing the interactions, let's actually talk about the interactions between the visuals in general here. So for example, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come over to our set of visualizations here, and let's first start off by going to the year here. I'm going to click this year drop-down box, and I'm going to say maybe we just want to take a look at everything in 2020. So when I go ahead and choose 2020, you're going to notice that all of my visualizations reacted to that. So the clustered column chart right here is narrowed down to 2020. All of these values are here for 2020 only, and you can see on this line chart it's been reduced to a single dot. So all of these things reacted to the changes that I did in this dropdown. So the way to go ahead and set that back is let's go to select all, and we'll see that our visualizations are now back to their normal state. So if I move down to this visual right here and I click on 2020, so I'm just going to click on the 2020 bar in that line chart, or sorry, the cluster column chart, you're going to notice that the line chart once again gets reduced to a dot, but the funnel chart actually behaves a little different. Now we're actually seeing the sales for these top 5 products through the lens of 2020. So the entire bar is all the years, but here's the 2020 portion of those bars. If I want to go ahead and erase that, I go ahead and click the bar, and we're back to normal here. Okay, so that's just some of the basic interactions. Actually, let's do one last one. Let's go ahead and click on the product here. So if I go ahead and click on the product, you're going to notice that these visuals all react and now get narrowed down to individual products. The way that I can tell this actually happened was to actually go to each one of the visuals, and you're going to see a funnel at the very top of the chart. And if I just zoom in here, like so, we're going to actually see that we can take a look at the filters and slicers that are affecting this visual right now. So we can see that we've got the order date years of 2018, 19, 20 coming off the filters pane. I've got the product name of top 5 by total sales. So that is the product name influencing that value here. Plus I'm taking a look at the mountain bike 200 black 42. So I've got a number of different filters that are actually affecting this visualization at this point in time. So you have that ability on all the visualizations to see the filter here as to how it is being affected with what is happening right now. So here's another area where the filter context can be manipulated. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to click on this blue bar right here to get ourselves back to the default state. Okay, so let's go in here now and talk about editing the interactions. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to highlight on the year slicer. And what I want to do here is with the year slicer on, I'm going to go to the Format tab and make sure that Edit Interactions is turned on. So I can click this command here, and then we're going to see these series of icons that show up at the top of each one of the visuals to say, does this visual accept the filter that comes from what I have highlighted, that being the year slicer, or do I not accept that filter? So for the line chart, I'm actually going to turn that off. I want to go up over here to my cluster column chart. I'm actually going to have to move this cluster column chart down so I can actually get at the edit interactions here, because this little blocker thing here has been hidden. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that off and then put my cluster column chart back where it belongs here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the year again. We're going to see it's kind of hidden in behind here. So that's a little bit of a challenge to deal with. It's just the way you get your visuals placed. But anyhow, now I'm ready to go into my Format tab and actually turn Edit Interactions off. So now I'm going to go out here and let's go to the year slicer and actually go and choose a given year. So I'm going to choose 2020. So now when I choose 2020, look what happened. The cluster column chart and the line chart did not accept that filter. And in fact, we take a look at the filters here, we can see that the filter on the line chart, if I just zoom in here, is only the order date year, which we did on the filters pane. And if I go ahead and take a look at the exact same thing over on the cluster column chart, it's the same. But if I go down to the chart here that is the funnel chart and zoom in here, let's go ahead and zoom, we can see that the filter here is actually picking up on the order date year is 2020 from the actual drop-down box. So it actually accepted that filter. Okay, so the Editing interactions and interactions in general are a very powerful feature of Power BI, and it is often one that requires a little bit of training and education to users that are new to Power BI, because this level of interactivity is almost something that most people have never seen. So there's a little bit of a change management element to some of this as well. So as wonderful as we think some of these things are, and we're marveled with this interactivity as developers in Power BI, we also have to be cognizant of the fact that maybe our end users aren't really ready for this stuff, or they need a little bit of training on how it actually all works. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the sub-lesson here on editing the interactions between visuals.